I mean, can you believe this stuff? God, elections stink. I mean, you don't get a good choice. Either get dumb Democrats or retarded Republicans. You know, when I was a kid, decisions were a lot easier. Batman or Superman, Sega or Nintendo. Hell, even Pokemon and Digimon. Oh wait, that's my next episode, isn't it? Hello everybody, I'm B-Bake and this is my room. So like I said in an introduction, when I was a kid, we had two favorite Japanese monster franchises to choose one. We either had Pokemon, or we had Digimon. Now, when I was a kid, I used to watch both, because when I was a kid, I thought they were both pretty cool. But looking back on it, I can probably see which one would have been the better franchise. Obviously, Pokemon, the game franchise, has expanded into a universe of its own. It's become one of the most critically acclaimed handheld series of all time, and having a couple good console games like Pokemon Snap and Stadium. But not a lot of people give much acclaim to Digimon, except for one reviewer on that guy with the glasses actually did a Digimon special. I can't remember her name, but I know she did a good job with the first season of Digimon in a retrospect. So, what do I have to say? What do I have to say about Digimon that's good? Well, I actually like the anime a lot better than the Pokemon anime. The Digimon anime had a lot of things that were more superior than the Pokemon anime. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, Digimon was just a ripoff of Pokemon, and I say that's bullshit. That's like saying Spider-Man is a ripoff of Superman. Yeah, they might have similar names and a similar concept. In fact, even Peter Parker worked at a newspaper just like Clark Kent. But they're two completely different series. I think the only difference is that now our expectations are, oh, when something comes out at the same time, it's automatically a ripoff. Kind of like how people think Kesha's a ripoff of Lady Gaga. But I'm not here to talk about pop stars. I'm here to talk about Japanese monsters. So let's dig into what I like to call the Versus series. Here, in the first installment of this, we're going to be talking about Pokemon versus Digimon. Let's talk about the overall plot. Now, my memory's very vague, so if I screw things up, please, fanboys, no complaining, because I'm not in the mood for that. Let's talk about the plot of Pokemon. The game was very simple. Go around, catch Pokemon, and become a Pokemon master. Pretty simple game, almost like a Sims kind of game, just a day in the life, just going by, whatever, catching monsters, doing this. It kept you entertained for a while, but to make a show about it, it's really stupid if you think about it. The Pokemon anime, in one word, was pathetic. An obvious cash-in just so kids can go out and buy the game and the training cards and everything else. Hell, it worked out on my generation. Half of us probably can't even remember one episode of Pokemon that actually meant something. All of it was just stupidity. I mean, you get this character, Ash, who just runs around acting like an egotistical jack-off that, I'm just gonna catch all the Pokemon. That's pretty much it. It's just this stupid kid going around catching monsters. It seemed kind of cool, but there really was no plot. Yeah, I know we had diverse gym leaders and stuff. And remember, I'm only going off the first season of Pokemon. No Orange Island, no anything after that. Just the first 8 original gym leaders. And I can't believe I still remember that stuff. So really, the Pokemon was a pretty lame series in retrospect. Now, Digimon, on the other hand, at least had a plot. It wasn't the greatest story ever told, but it was a lot better than Pokemon. I think Digimon really tried to be something different. It wasn't trying to be a blatant ripoff of Pokemon. And plus, Digimon didn't even have a video game to begin with. It was an original idea. Basically, you have these 7 or 8 kids, one of them joined the series later, who get trapped into this digital world. It's really complicated to explain this plot, but I guess something happens with cyberspace or computers, and they get zapped into a computer world where they have to find monsters, 1 monster per kid, train that monster so it can become really powerful and defeat evil monsters in the computer world, or else we're done for. Well, that's kind of it. But that actually is a story. That's actually a plot. Pokemon had no plot. So for plot points, we got to give this one to Digimon. The second thing we're going to talk about are the human characters. Okay, if anyone watched the Pokemon series, all the characters are pricks, especially Ash Ketchum. Haha, get it? It's a pun. Like, Ketchum is an egotistical douchebag who just thinks he's the greatest person ever just because he has a Pikachu. That's pretty much it. I think Ash Ketchum is the most pathetic character in any cartoon series. I never rooted for him. Misty didn't do much for me. Brock was a pervert. Professor Oak was kind of interesting. He seemed like a good mentor, but he just seemed as stupid as Ash. The only characters I really cared about were Team Rocket. I mean, they were the ones who actually had conflict, problems. Things didn't go their way sometimes. Sometimes they did. I was always interested to know what was going on with Team Rocket more than I was with Ash Ketchum. That's how I pretty much felt. Alright, moving on to the next one. Digimon. The human characters, well, were actually quite diverse and unique. Sure, like I said, for a kid's show they were. Most kid shows didn't really break down and try to analyze characters too well, especially with action shows. I mean, try to find out what Optimus Prime's favorite show is. But with the Digimon human characters, you had a lot of potential. There was like Ty, the big brother, Matt. You had like TK, the little cute kid. You had Sora, the kind of brave female protagonist. You had Mimi, who was kind of this like fashion girl. You had Izzy, who was like the smart brainy kid, and you had Joe, who was a nerd, but he wasn't a brainy nerd like Izzy. He was a kind of keep things clean and tidy. And then you had the little sister character, Kairi, who was actually pretty dark for a children's character. So these characters were actually more interesting. They seem to have a lot of struggle, and Izzy's character had his parents actually gain a divorce, something that happens, I don't know, in the real world. Ash never had conflicts. I know that technically his mom was single because we never seen his dad, but seriously, these Digimon human characters were a lot more developed and a lot better than the Pokemon ones. So again, point goes to Digimon. Next, we're going to talk about the monsters. First, let's look at the Pokemon monsters. Oh, look at the little Pikachu, it's so cute, and it's Charmander, and the Bulbasaur, it's so cute. Alright, now let's take a look at the Digimon. Holy shit! Now that's what you call a monster. Let's face it, the Digimon monsters looked cool. I mean, Greymon, Garomon, they had a lot of cool Digimon-looking monsters. The Pokemon ones were very cutesy. They weren't really necessarily hardcore or badass. But the Digimon ones I consider really cool. But I gotta give this one to Pokemon, and here's why. At least with Pokemon, they had interesting names. Like, I gotta be honest, Pikachu is one of the most iconic names for any mystical monster in the past 10 years. It's referenced almost everywhere. Charizard, a cool name. Digimon had some lame names, and a lot of people complain about this, and I'm one of these people. Every monster ended with Mon. It was completely stupid. Plus, I think Pokemon had a better way of explaining their evolution of monsters. You see, like, with Pokemon, there were usually only 3 steps, and it went from biggest to middle, smallest to middle to biggest. And that was it. With Digimon, the staging got really confusing. They started off as eggs, then babies, then in training, then rookie, then champion, then ultimate. And there was also a mega stage, which you have to be in rookie to get to it. And if you were in ultimate stage, you would revert back to your rookie stage. And it was a mess. It was really confusing at times. And then in the second season, they added in Armor Energized, which made a different stage for them. But I'm not even going to talk about that. This is just first season for both Pokemon and Digimon. So, to be honest, the monsters, I'm going to have to give this point to Pokemon. The next thing we're going to talk about is the theme song. A theme song is really important because it introduces the show, the characters, and what it's all about. Let's take a look at the Pokemon theme song. No ever was. Catch them is Mario's task. Train them is my cause. Pokemon! That's what you call a theme song. That theme song is iconic and badass. Every time I listen to it, it just brings me back to those days when I'd rush down every Saturday morning and watch the TV show. It introduces the concept, though there really is a stupid concept. It still introduces us to the show. So I think that's amazing. It's a good theme song, and it's catchy like the Transformers and the G.I. Joe theme song. Now let's take a look at the Digimon theme song. The Digimon theme song sucks. So in our last category of Pokemon versus Digimon, we're going to talk about the most important thing that I think everyone is interested in. The video games. Well, gotta give it to Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon, even their side games, are some of the most iconic video games in the history of the world. I mean, you got the Game Boy games, you got the Nintendo 64 games like Pokemon Snap and Stadium. These games are so memorable and iconic. It's unbelievable. I mean, so many people, even my age, who are 20, who grew up with this shit, still play it. It's incredible how much Pokemon has made a landmark in the pop culture. There's always references to this stuff through South Park, The Simpsons, even Family Guy, I think, maybe made a reference, I'm not sure, but everyone seems to make a reference to Pokemon. Not so much Digimon. And I mean, I know popularity doesn't mean determine greatness, but if you're not referenced in any pop culture significant, if you're not anything significant in the pop culture, then you lack the charm and charisma of the series where you're trying to compete with. Though Digimon, I believe, was the better anime, that doesn't make it the better series or franchise. And I know selling doesn't mean anything, but really, no one knows much about Digimon. I mean, I barely know enough, but I did watch it a lot, so I still have my fond memories of this stuff. The only thing that I can recommend about Digimon is for younger kids, because I still think it's a great show. I'd rather have kids watch a well-developed, well-scripted, and better-developed character show like Digimon than a pathetic, thrown-together, bad animated show like Pokemon. But I don't really like anime anyway. I know most people wouldn't consider this anime, but if it's Japanese-looking, it's weird and has references and jokes that Americans don't get. And if people dress like them up at anime conventions, then yeah, it's an anime, okay? I mean, it's just as much as an anime as Ghost in the Shell is, okay? And I can't believe I'm making that sort of reference. The point is that Digimon was a good show for kids. Pokemon was not a good show for kids, but it was a good franchise for kids, and a good game series for kids. I don't know really what else to say, except I like the Digimon anime, and I still think that if people went back and watched it and had it through a kid's perspective, it's a lot better show than Transformers and G.I. Joe was. I mean, those shows were really pathetic, and I don't think Digimon was a cash-in show. I think it was really trying to be something different. But as usual, people just like to say it's a ripoff, because there's plenty of episodes I remember about Digimon. I'm getting ahead of myself, but the point is that even though I loved Digimon as a kid, as an adult, I think it lacks good material. It has potential to be really good, but it's just not. And overall, the Pokemon anime is a stinky turd slipping down a dude's ass. But I think the game franchise is amazing, even though I don't play the games, and I play Pokemon Snap once in a while if I really have the time. But they were just two franchises that bring back memories. And I think that if you watch Digimon, if you did like Digimon, I don't blame you, because I really liked it too. Up until Season 3. Season 3 is when things got kind of stupid, but the first two seasons are golden. And Pokemon was never good, the movie stunk, and I don't know what else to say. But overall, I'd say if you have fond memories of Digimon, that's good, because I did too. Well, that's all I gotta say about this episode. I'm B-Bake saying, yeah.